It's the beautiful things in our life that dismantle the fear in our lives. Let's create beauty. Let's use beauty and dismantle this big idea of fear and anxiety that tells us that tomorrow doesn't need us.
Welcome to the Innovative Church Leaders Podcast. I'm your host, Eric Bryant. In every episode, we bring in guests who will inspire, encourage you to be more effective in your mission field. Well, in today's episode of the Innovative Church Leaders Podcast, I have with me my good friend, Naeem. How you doing, Naeem?
Doing great, man. Doing so good. Thanks for having me again. Like we
Yes.
talked about it just before we
You
went
you
live
have
here.
been one of my favorite people to interview in those early years, and now you've got a new book, so it gives me an excuse to reach out again. But before we jump into that, I'd love to hear ministry in Charlotte. How have things been in this new post-pandemic era? It feels like God is doing a lot of really cool things there.
Yeah. I mean, it's been hard. I would say it's been really hard. I mean, just being honest, I think it's been hard because what we had before COVID, just the loss of all of that. I mean, some churches felt it more than others. We definitely did. So when we came back with seemed like a third of our people, and then also those people just numerically were half of them were new. So it was just strange because a lot of people would trickle in. And so it's been a rebuilding phase, no doubt. Now, we were stuck in COVID. We're in the city in Charlotte. And so, it took us several years to get back into it. And it's never been the same. What's been good about it is that we've been able to, we expanded our square footage footprint. We actually doubled it. But then we were able to actually partner with a school, and we went to a model where we partnered with the school, a Montessori school, rented out our facilities. It was start off with just being kind to them during COVID because they needed a place to meet, and we just offered it for free. And that turned into a partnership that led to a 3-year lease where they ended up like for at least a year and a half paying for our mortgage, for our entire mortgage. Yeah.
That's a fantastic partnership. I love it.
I know. And we were also able to build out a full gymnasium, like 6 basketball hoops, volleyball, pickleball, uh, get more space. So we're kind of set up for office spaces and that we don't use. But it's been a model of buying property or because it's all connected. We're in a business park. It's one big building, but we become not landowners, but you know what I'm saying, owners, and where we're renting it out. And man, it's been able to help us big time because our finances dropped as well. And so it's been good overall. We're seeing good energy, good momentum now, but I wouldn't say it was easy, and it's still a little different.
Yeah, no, I feel like we are running parallel to you. I think that in some ways, when you're reaching out to a more progressive part of the world, like you are in that part of Charlotte, we are here in South Austin, we care about issues that more conservative people feel like are too liberal, like race, and equity and kindness to people of all nations.
Right.
And so they end up going to more conservative churches that do get more locked in with different political parties. And at the same time, these were the people least ready to come back, the people we're reaching.
Strange.
Well, talk about some of your efforts, even in the city, because that's another thing that I think has been really, really fun to watch from a distance is seeing how you guys have mobilized into, being better representatives of Jesus and serving and where you live.
Yeah, I mean, we had to change how we would do ministry. And, for example, one of the things that fundamentally changed is how we did Easter. We did multiple services indoor. That was the thing, Friday, Good Friday into multiple services on Sunday mornings. And then during COVID, we did our first outdoor. So first year, we didn't have an Easter service at all. There was social distancing, if you guys remember that. And then after that, we did an outdoor service. And then we never went back. So even now, we do an outdoor service, even though we got a building full on to use. We do one massive
Oh, fun.
outdoor service in our parking lot, which is it's nice enough to do it there, and we outdoor stage. We put streamers on the trees because we have trees everywhere, so it's beautiful. And we kind of make it like a family festival, kind of a Easter celebration where yeah, and it's and the weather's been really great as well. I mean, since we've been started doing it 2021, I think 1 year was the only year we had to like uh move everything inside,
Wow.
because it didn't work out. But even this past year, same. I mean, it's just so yeah, changing the way you reach people, changing I mean, even people's behavior, like I've got I got, I mean, they are probably top 10 tithers, maybe even top five. And they have not been in service in, I don't know, in the last 5 years.
Yeah. Yeah.
And they
It's
still give.
it's very
It's so
interesting.
strange.
Yeah, it is very strange. Yeah, we had 800 people before the pandemic and about 400 giving. We have about 500 people coming and about 400 giving. Like it is very odd. And certainly as we're kind of reorganizing to simplify and really emphasizing making disciples who make disciples, one of the things I love on your website, Mosaic Church TV, is this phrase, a new way to do church. Now,
Hmm.
you're in a similar boat to us in that we've got post Christian people that have Christian in their background,
Hmm.
folks
Yeah.
that grew up in different parts of Texas, and to get out of the Bible Belt, they moved to Austin. You're in Charlotte, big churches all around. But again, the niche of those you're reaching wouldn't necessarily go to those other big churches.
Right.
When you say a new way to do church, what are some of the ways you're communicating that and living that out in a way that is helpful to the folks you're trying to reach?
Yeah. It is, I mean, I guess presumptuous to say, that we're doing it a new way and everybody else is doing it the old way. But the new way seems to be, at least for us, call to, hey, there's been a kind of church that you have used to. And even though this is 2025, we're still in the South, and somehow churches don't move faster, as fast as everybody else in the world. And especially some traditions, and especially depending on where you are. Yeah, for us, a diversity, for example, is a brand new concept. It seems like this idea of like churches being intentionally diverse. Yeah, it's still a new idea. Like, so people love it. People love I mean, Christians would say we were all about diversity and all that, but they weren't really diverse. Or like, hey, we need to be diverse. But our whole DNA is really diversity. So we have 27 different ethnicities. We exist because of that. So when people experience, not online, but if you come in and you see different people, very different people, and there's diversity in every way possible and equity displayed in that, it's a new thing. It's refreshing. It's like, wow, I didn't know that churches could be like that, because I thought church was like, well, we're a Baptist church, so we do, all the Baptists collect here, all the Methodists do this, all the Pentecostals do that, and all the Jim, you know what I'm saying? And
Yeah.
all the white people are here, and the brown people are there, and the black people are there. And here, it's still so refreshing. And again, because it's North Carolina, you know, it's not a there's no I have a friend in New York, and even that is like forced diversity, like because they live right next to you.
Yeah.
But I will say though, even talking to him, when it comes to worship, they'll segregate
Yeah. Yeah.
because it's I don't know.
It's still our go-to move for sure, kind of in the human nature. And that's part of what's really beautiful, I think, and what's made Mosaic and even our church here in South Austin more diverse, perhaps faster, is certainly a willingness, what we're talking about, but also it does feel like it's not necessarily the locals, it's the people who move from places that are diverse and are looking
Hmm.
for that and value that. And so all of a sudden you've got New Yorkers and people from India
Right.
who will come to your church.
Yeah. 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 For sure. For sure. Yeah, I mean, I've heard that sentiment before. People will say, "Oh, this reminds me of Chicago. Oh, this reminds me of when I used to live." I don't see it anywhere else but this church. But it takes intentionality. I mean, it's not like we don't have anything like we like we don't have mission statements on the wall. Like diversity is our motto.
Right.
Like
Yeah.
no, like it's not the thing. It's really in it's we do talk about it, of course, and we do talk about issues that matter to people who are either immigrants or people from a minority, worldview, or even people who from a different faith. I mean, just very our language is so inclusive, and so one of the things we've done is this idea of how we are a new way is that we're trying to reclaim the message and the movement of Jesus. So that's been the biggest thing for us is that, and known me for a long time. I mean, we started Mosaic, and I didn't really understand what I was doing when I started Mosaic, and then last 10 years I realized, okay, here's what I really want to do. I want to reclaim what the message is all about. Like, what is Jesus' message really about? Not the Christian message, no, the Jesus message.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then I want to reclaim and take back what the movement is supposed to be, like what church is supposed to look like. And so we're reclaiming the message and movement of Jesus. So when people walk in the door, they see, oh, they're trying to reclaim the message and movement of Jesus. I mean, we start the service like that. I mean, that's our thing. And what we're trying to say is there's been a lot of stuff painted over the message. There's been a lot of stuff added to the movement, and we're trying to strip it back and go back to and reclaim it.
Yeah. No, I think that's so well said. And there is a lot of cultural Christianity that gets in the way of Jesus's message. When I was in LA, I remember learning this importance of being more intentional when I got up and I made an announcement that we're starting a new college group and had
Right,
several
right.
people come up and who wanted to help lead, and they were all Caucasian. Well, the room was not filled with just white people. I ended up talking to a woman who was a professor at UCLA, Asian American, and she said, "Oh, I'd be happy to help." And I said, "Well, that's so great. I was hoping you'd walk up to the front and volunteer." And she said, "You don't understand. I would never do that. In our culture, it's
Yeah, yeah.
presumptuous to just walk to the front as if I
Right,
have
right.
the answers. But if you invite me and others like me, we'll jump right in."
Yeah,
And I
yeah,
realized, growing up as a white guy, I don't mind walking to the front because I know the answer,
yeah. Right, right.
but being just really intentional about looking for who may not be invited, who may not realize that there is a place for them at the table. I love what you guys are doing, and I'm super excited about your new book. Of course, your
Oh
first
man.
one was called Ex-Muslim. It's a beautiful story of your journey towards faith. But talk about Tomorrow Needs You, seeing beauty when you feel hopeless.
Yeah, man. So the title of the book actually is a painful, but I guess a painful story. It came from a conversation I had with my dad. He was going through a very dark time, and he tried to take his life. And he was unsuccessful, but definitely injured himself and then passed away 6 months later. And I remember after in the hospital, after he went while he was recovering from his attempted, he said to me, "No one needs me." And I was like, "Dad, what are you talking about?" And he said, I'm not needed anymore. I was, but I'm not needed. No one needs me. If I were to die, no one will notice. You guys don't need me. I'm not worth anything. I don't matter anymore. I used to. And so, yeah, so the phrase "tomorrow needs you" really came from me telling my dad, "No, Dad, no, we need you. We need you." And one of the things that my dad, did not understand, or he failed to grasp, or to fail to see, was everything around him that was really amazing. Like, I remember in the same conversations talking about God, telling him to look around and say, "Dad, what are you talking about? We all need you. And look at the family around you. Like, look at your grandkids. Look at all the things, look at the beautiful things." And he he just couldn't see it. He couldn't see any beauty. He couldn't see any hope. He couldn't see anything good. And so, yeah, the book really is about people who are convinced, one, that no one needs them, they don't matter, and two, they are unable to see anything beautiful in the midst of their pain, grief, loss. So yeah, that's really the book, man.
Wow.
I mean, it's got a little humor in there for sure, but it's filled with life stories of people coming out of trauma. And so, yeah, I use beauty as a solution to fear, anxiety in people's lives, moving them out of despair and discouragement.
You know, we live in a world where so many are struggling with depression and anxiety. I love that you've been willing to share this really hard story in the form of
Mm-hmm.
this book, even with us right now. What are ways of maybe a story or two from the book that you've seen some of those people who were struggling turn the corner, like when they got the hope they needed to move forward?
Yeah. Yeah. So the premise of the book is this idea, or I should say that the book is sectioned into three big ideas. Number one is this idea of yesterday has forgotten you, uh, and the second section is today is waiting, and the third is tomorrow needs you. And so it's I guess 14 chapters or something like that, and it starts off with the story of a person that's coming out of or going through something, and they've used beauty to dismantle the fear in their life. And so this book, so the big idea, the how to on, like you asked the question, like, who has, or can you tell me of a person? So the big idea is like, I actually came from a TEDx talk that I did, and I did a talk on how beauty is a solution to fear. This idea of creating beauty and seeing beauty is the solution to fear, anxiety in our life. And so the the person that comes to mind right now is, well, she's in the book, Danielle, who was sexually abused by her uncle for a long time, and because of that had major health problems, and kept it quiet for a long, long time. And this relative was abusing other people as well in that, and finally it came out. His wife died because he gave her a sexually transmitted disease, and it's a mess. It's a mess, Eric. It was just so horrific. And then he was serving 100. He got convicted and was serving 130 years. And so I remember meeting her at the gym. I mean, I was going in to work out, and the gym owner talked to me about possibly just talking with this one of his clients or whatever. And I said, would you just talk to her? And so I remember that conversation with her, and we actually became good friends. But what she did and what I asked her to do was to create a beautiful community of people around her to help her really navigate the process of healing in her life. And so she began to do that. So she created a beautiful community. She had beautiful relationships in her life, and she saw a beautiful vision of her being healthy and whole. And I remember telling her to come to like like a it was like a it's not group therapy, but it was a ministry that we had started talking about like deep uh, therapeutic really conversations. And then and so I went with her first day, and I said, just meet me there. We'll sit down. And then asked her to pursue getting healing professionally and all that. And so she really did that. So I mean, she, as one of her, it was one of her things she had to do was in her past, an exercise. She had to carry a brick around for a week, and symbolizes all the abuse, all the stuff that she'd been carrying for so long. And she was like, I had to take it everywhere, and then she got rid of it. And so yeah, and the book is filled with people like that, but all people who've done that. But yeah, the big idea really is that there's got to be something not within us, that can defeat the fear in us. It's not the thing within us. Now, I do believe the Holy Spirit lives inside of us. I believe in all of that. I'm not saying that. I'm not discounting that. I am saying, though, that sometimes to muster up the strength and muster up the whatever, we just need something bigger to move us. So we need something bigger and more beautiful to. And it comes from this verse in scripture where it says of Jesus, Hebrews 12, it says, hey, look to Jesus, the perfecter, the pioneer of our faith. And he says, for the joy set before him, he endured the cross. So I believe that Jesus gave us a way. He said, set a joy before you to endure the cross. Jesus put the image of a beautiful humanity, having an intimate, close relationship with God that they never had before. And that was worth him dying on the cross. that was worth him being tortured. He set a joy before him, and he was able to endure. I believe that's the reason why when we see something so beautiful, we'll do whatever it takes to make it happen. We see something beautiful in danger, like a child or a loved one in a burning building. Guess what happens? We just run towards it. See, because it's the beautiful things in our life that dismantle the fear in our lives. So the book is really about, hey, let's do that. Let's create beauty. Let's use beauty and dismantle this big idea of fear and anxiety that tells us that tomorrow doesn't need us.
I think that's such a wonderful message. And, beauty is a signpost of the new creation kingdom in which we live, thanks to Jesus. We're going to be giving away copies. For those of you who are already receiving my email newsletter, you can sign up at ericbryant.org. It's called Tomorrow Needs You. You can find out more about Naeem online. His church's website is mosaicchurch.tv. Thank you, Naeem. Keep up the amazing work.
Of course. Thank you so much for helping me, spread this message of hope, man. Thank you.
Thanks for joining us for the Innovative Church Leaders Podcast. Go to my website, ericbryant.org, for my newsletter and free resources.